Welcome back to the AI-Driven Marketer. I'm Dan Sanchez. My friends call me Danchez. And every once in a while, I get asked how I stay on top of it all because, as we know, AI is changing. And it seems like every day there's some new news about AI to stay on top of. The problem is a lot of that news is just hype, and we kind of all know it. But at the same time, we have this sense of FOMO that we're missing out on something that could be revolutionary. So today I want to talk about the channels that I'm getting news from, how I'm looking at it, what I'm looking for, and ultimately what I'm doing to learn about what's practical now for AI and how I'm going about learning AI, like the kind of the routine that I've settled in after doing a deep dive in 2024 to master AI. So if you want to go farther than listening to my show, and I'm sure you have your favorites as well, listen along, see where I'm going, and maybe you want to add a few of these to your YouTube subscribes or your podcast listens, or maybe a book or two. Speaking of books, I have my Audible list pulled up, and I have been reading all the major AI books that have come out since probably September of last year, because there weren't any when I first started, but they've started trickling out now, and I've been listening to them on Audible. I gotta say, there's not a single AI book that I'm like, this is the one. This one's good. This one gave me some practical tips. They're all just kind of like, in my opinion, like I wouldn't even give it a C grade. I'd probably give them all D grades as far as like how practical they are. And the ones that I've read, I'm sorry, gosh, I'm like going to ruin a relationship with these authors. They're all really smart. They're all really intelligent. They've all had good things to say about AI. But as someone looking for what to do practically with AI for marketing, they've not been helpful. And that's okay, because these are all general AI books. No one's really written a practical AI marketing book yet that I've found. But those books are The Coming Wave, Power and Prediction, Competing in the Age of AI, and Co-Intelligence are the books. You can Google it. They're all good books. Co-Intelligence specifically is probably the most recent one, and it's just a very helpful primer if you've kind of been hearing about it and you're not exactly sure what to think about AI and you're an executive and you want a very short, approachable book that kind of gives some really good I'd say a strategic overview of it and how to even think about intelligence as co-intelligence. That's probably my best recommendation right now as far as an overview of AI. The other ones were more of like big warnings, how we're going to need data. They were just kind of like these broad sweeps that I just don't think are the most helpful yet. They will be as they come out, and as really good books come out, I will be doing single episode on books, on particular books. But so far, I've been reading them, and I haven't found any to like really highlight for a full episode here on the AI-Driven Marketer yet. Soon, though. I'm sure they're coming. So let's dive into some of the different channels that I'm looking into online where I'm going to learn about AI, starting with newsletters. I'm going to open up my desktop here so you can follow along, but I'll be talking through it for all of you just listening in on your run or on a drive or wherever you're at listening. I'm going to start here with the Rabbit Hole. Someone recommended this to me, and I can't remember who or where, but it's been a good newsletter. It's a good digest that comes through. It's just kind of nice to have a newsletter that you can just quickly scan, click on a few links, and then move away. You can go to therabbithole.beehive, and it's hive, HIIV.com if you're not familiar with beehive.com. And here, I'll open up an example. It's kind of just like a curation, if you will, of the top AI news of the week, and it's a pretty good curation. I'll always go through it. I actually find that the tweets they find are usually some of the most interesting ones that I see in their newsletter, so I might click through and follow this tweet or X post. It's kind of a good way to stay on top of general news. In fact, almost all of my sources are general AI news sources. I haven't really found, other than the last one that I'm going to be talking about, where someone's putting out consistently good AI marketing stuff that I'm getting actionable insights from. So everything's fairly general AI stuff, and then I have to try to make sense of it to publish, then actually do something interesting marketing-wise that I then publish on my own podcast or customize or give the marketing spin on for the AI-driven marketer. But the Rabbit Hole is a good one to start with. It gives a pretty good overview every couple of days. As far as YouTube goes, Matt Wolf is kind of like the king of like YouTubers who cover AI. So if you haven't been in the AI world, you probably aren't familiar with Matt Wolf, but if you are in the AI world, you probably know, because Matt Wolf is a pretty big deal in AI. He's probably got the most subscribers of all the AI YouTubers out there with 638,000 subscribers. He just has really good overviews. I find he's just very approachable. He's very honest. He doesn't favor one thing over the other unless it's actually favorable. So I generally, like, he has a video he drops every week on Friday that kind of gives an overview of everything that's happening in AI that week. Sometimes he'll put out usually episodes in between that are kind of like specialty ones. But if anything, just check out that Friday one that gives a good summary. He even recaps some of the things he talks about in his one-off videos. It's probably one of the best. If I could only pick one AI news source, it's Matt Wolf. Like, honestly, if I have to cut everything else, Matt Wolf is going to be my one overview, because he gives the best overview with the clear take on like a general overview of AI and robotics and just all the stuff you'd kind of need to know to just get an overview. He does it in a really visual and engaging way on his Friday YouTube video. If that was the only piece of information I was getting, this would be it. So big plug for Matt Wolf. Again, not a lot of marketing stuff. I mean, he's a YouTuber, so he's doing marketing, so marketing will make its way in. But yeah, like here, he has this one on creating AI-generated logos using Midjourney. That's actually kind of cool. I need to like favorite that one to later. Save that, because I somehow missed that one. Since I've done episodes on logo design with Midjourney too, that'd be a fun one to check. But yes, Matt Wolf on YouTube. Great, subscribe. As far as podcast goes, the top podcast on artificial intelligence, this started as a marketing show, and I'm so bummed because it's drifted away from marketing, even though it comes from the Marketing AI Institute. So it was at one time more focused on marketing. It is no longer. It is now just the artificial intelligence show with Paul Rotzer and Mike Kaput. Overview from a business sense on AI. But it is a very general overview of AI. But they do a good job of breaking down, like, as big things are happening, giving their view on what's good, what's bad, what to expect, what's unique about any situation. They give a lot of context to the news that's breaking in a much more, I'd say, business thinking way. Under Matt Wolf is kind of coming at it from a consumer mindset. If you want it from a more of a business mindset, the Artificial Intelligence Show is for you, and it's a great show. They put it out every week, sometimes twice a week. So listen to that one. That I'm going to recommend here, but it's kind of an interesting one. It's not necessarily a particular channel, but it's essentially just following Sam Altman. He's the CEO of OpenAI, and essentially is kind of like the leader. It'd be like following Steve Jobs if you're following Apple. It's kind of like you kind of have to follow this guy because he's on the edge. OpenAI's been on the edge of AI and a lot of the breakthroughs there on so many different fronts. So generally, a lot of the AI community follows along with Sam Altman, and I'm here on his X profile, and he posts here, and he posts all kinds of things here. So there's some breaking news here every once in a while. But generally, where you find breaking news from Sam Altman is when he's being interviewed on other people's podcasts, YouTube channels, newsletters, whatever. And so I'm just kind of following along, and the YouTube algorithm kind of knows that I follow Sam Altman. So it always, anytime he interviews somewhere, I'm always watching his long videos for any hint of like what's to come, because the edge of AI is often like dropping is like anybody who wants to know about what the edge of AI is, you kind of have to be following along with Sam Altman as he drops breadcrumbs in these interviews. So that's a big way that I'm staying on top. So I generally watch every Sam Altman video that comes out. He was doing a lot of interviews in the spring. He's kind of slowed down over the summer. I expect it'll pick back up over the fall as we get out of summer and vacation mode. The newest one that I've added to the list is the AI Explored podcast with Michael Stelzner. It's very interesting. It started off kind of slow, going over even some of the basic concepts. I think Michael is starting to do a deep dive, and he started in the spring. I could see him going through a similar journey that I did back in January and February as he's getting into how to prompt, like how to do custom GPTs. And I'm like, I'm starting to see the journey, but it's starting to get good because he's starting to get into deeper, like 202, 303 stuff now that he's like come beyond the basics. If you follow along in his journey, and you're brand new to AI, like starting from episode 0 with him and then following through, it's a really good way. You could do the same with my episode, but you already listened to AI Driven Marketer, so you already get it. He also comes out of like the Social Media Examiner, so he has a very heavy marketing bent. So even though marketing's not in the title of AI Explored, it's probably one of the best marketing heavy AI podcast other than my own that I'm listening to regularly. In fact, it's the only AI marketing podcast that I'm listening to, because while I've liked some people from during different seasons, I don't know, he did this with what do you call it, the blockchain stuff too a couple of years ago, and I think he let that go when it kind of fell through. But Michael uses podcasts to learn, like I use podcasts to learn. So he's asking similar questions to me, bringing on certain similar types of guests in order to learn the process. What he doesn't do that I do is doing solo episodes, sharing what he's learned and encapsulated along the way. If I ever meet him, that'll probably be my recommendation to him. Is like, hey, like show what you're working on. But for now, he's got some great guests on that are doing some really cool stuff, and I've been listening to it more and more as the content's starting to get into the deep end of AI and marketing. So I do recommend AI Explorer with Michael Stelzner. It's been good. And lastly, the way you have to learn AI is by doing it, right? There's all kinds of resources you can follow, but there's a huge difference between people who watch and listen to this stuff but never do it and those who actually do it. In fact, there's more to be learned just by actually rolling up your sleeves and throwing a bunch of use cases at ChatGPT in order to really learn how to leverage AI for yourself in marketing or whatever role you have in marketing. And I can't stress this enough. I'm listening and watching all these different things from The Rabbit Hole, Matt Wolf, the Artificial Intelligence Show, the Sam Altman interviews, and AI Explored. And then I am going and testing it and rolling up my sleeves and trying to learn as much as I can by actually doing the thing directly with ChatGPT. And you could go do it with Claude. You could do it with Google. It doesn't really matter. Honestly, like learning how to use AI like transfers over from one LLM to the other. It just doesn't really matter. Just pick one and just start learning. What matters way less is like figuring out the nuances between platforms. Just pick one and move with it. I picked ChatGPT, and that's where I'm focused. But I'm spending a ton of time experimenting, trying things, and I'm finding I'm getting more and more use out of it. The more I explore it and figure out what it's good at and what it's not good at, and the little limitations and how to get around them, I find I'm just getting more out of it more regularly. So I'm using it for all different parts of my life, and I mean all different parts of my life. In fact, the next episode on this show, the next solo episode I'm going to do after recording this one, is actually reviewing a bunch of different things that I've done with ChatGPT, like casually, not the custom GPTs where it's like a really solid process and I've programmed it to do, follow these step-by-step instructions to do really incredible things, but just the one-offs. I want to show you a bunch of different ways that I've created one-offs to improve my life professionally, but also just personally, in hopes that it gives you inspiration of like different ways to try it and test it and incorporate it into your own life. So I can't stress that enough. While you can go and learn from all these channels, 80% of your time should be interacting and spending time working with the medium itself. If you don't do that, then you won't learn. You definitely can't master it, but you won't even become okay at it if you're not actually rolling up your sleeves and spending a lot of time going back and forth with AI. This is where the learning actually happens, and this is the basis of my show. While I do interviews, I am also spending a lot of time doing these solo episodes, rolling up my sleeves, and then actually showing what I'm actually accomplishing with AI. So hopefully it's come across on the AI-driven marketer as I learn and then share my learnings and case studies with you on this show. Hopefully just taking a peek into some of my favorite channels is helpful too, though. So with that being said, thank you for listening to the show. Thank you so much for listening to the AI-Driven Marketer. If this show was any good, please give it a 5-star or whatever star rating you think it deserves on the podcast app that you're listening to, and tap that thumbs up button on YouTube. And if you want to dive deeper into AI and you're still not sure if you've mastered the fundamentals, go to my free AI course at AIDrivenMarketer.com and take a look. Learn the fundamentals, and you will never have to look for a prompt cheat sheet again. 5-video series, and you'll even find that I've customized the course so it's hyper personalized for you, your role, and the people you're marketing to. Take a look at it, and let's get started so we can do more with AI today.